What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me? Yo, mic check, mic check. Awesome. How's it going, Weird Wom? Just so you know, got about a 5-second latency. So, yeah, you're hearing me 5 seconds behind what I can see. So I try to move it down to low latency, but it, yeah, it still knocks it down to 5 seconds. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I think that'll be the one. So, looks like you're probably the only one in the chat right now. Not a big deal. We're just going to go through this. So I'm thinking for this, we're just going to go, we're going to import some height maps into the engine, show you guys how to use TerraSculptor a little bit to not only create some custom height maps, but as well as create your own and import some custom height maps, some real world data. Let me move my chat screen here. Make it a little easier to see. All right. Have you heard of TerraSculptor before? It's pretty nice. Dimension Media is the one who created it. He's got a website. I'll end up having a lot of links and stuff down in the description after the stream's over, once I get everything put together. But yeah, there'll be some links down there. He's got a decent website. He's a little monotone when he talks, so he's a little hard, at least for me, to kind of listen to. But he's really knowledgeable, not only on TerraSculptor, but on importing custom height maps and just using world partition, things like that. So I recommend checking out his channel. Like I said, I'll have all the links down in the description in a little while. But let's go. Let me see. Get some Google here. We just go, I've already got it loaded up. If we just search for TerraSculptor, we got Dimension Media here. So if we just go to his website, he's actually got 2 versions. He just recently released version 3.0, and he charges for that one. You can buy it, but you don't really need to. It's you don't really need to. If you want to and you want to support him, he also has a Patreon if you want to support without it, but it's a little bit costly. But everything that we need can be done in version 2.0, which is a free version. It's just unsupported anymore. There's some features that are missing, but pretty much everything we need is in version 2.0, so not a big deal. So if we come up here to the support tab, it'll take you to all the downloads, and we come down here, you've got the mirrors for the 3.0, and you can use 3.0. It's got like I think like a 5-minute timer on it before it kicks you out of it. So you can actually, I was actually doing some things in 3.0. You just have to work really fast to do it, but it's not a big deal. Like I said, 2.0 is just fine. So you come here, got all the 2.0. So if you just go to download, it's going to take you to his Google Drive, where actually both the 3.0 and the 2.0 are there. Just right click and download. Just download it. When you go to install it, it's going to come down as a zip. And once you unzip it, move this over here. And when you unzip it, you got a README here. Just talks about how to install it, how you could do a manual installation as well as an automatic installation. If you run I'm not sure how to do the manual, you can read up on that, do that yourself. But otherwise, you can come in here to the setup installation, which is auto. You got 2 here. It tells you to select this one, the setup.exe. It ends up calling this and running it. I don't think it really matters which one you select, but he recommends doing this one. You set it up. Windows will kind of freak out and tell you it's an unknown publisher, so you have to trust it. As you know, as far as this download goes, I've done it a couple times. I'm fine with it, so it's up to you whether you trust the installation or not. But it's been good. It's good software, so I haven't found any bugs in it. I did scan everything before I ran it, and it didn't find any viruses. But yeah, so then once you do that, it's going to open it up, throw it on your desktop, and let's open it up. pretty powerful software. It's not, if you're familiar with World Creator, whatever it is, that's pretty expensive software too. It's a lot like that, except for I think World Creator or World Builder, whatever it's called. I think that uses nodes. You use a bunch of different nodes, and which is kind of familiar because everything seems to be going node based these days. But you know, whatever you get used to is going to work for you, so it's not that big of a deal. But you open it up here. There's one setting I recommend. We're not going to open anything right now. I'm just going to cancel this out. We come in here. If we come up here to the tools and go to the Unreal Engine landscape sizes, we select that, and it's going to show you all the little sizes and stuff in here. These are the different sizes. These are the basic ones. A couple tabs up here for world partition. We want to be able to see all this, and so we can select them. I'm just going to close this down so we can select it when we are creating our maps. Where is it? We go tools. I think it goes settings, and then we come over here to dimensions. And if we enable Unreal Engine and then just close that out, now whenever we create a new project or a new map, we got this new button right here, so that way we can open it up, because Unreal Engine is very specific. If you've ever done landscapes, seen some videos on YouTube, yeah, so I haven't really, honestly, I haven't really done too much with it. I've been playing with it a little bit lately, just, you know, because I want to create a nice open world, so I haven't really messed with too much overall. But Unreal's pretty specific with the size of maps. Most of everything has to be a prime number, I believe. I think almost all the map sizes it requires or recommends are prime numbers. But you can come in here. This is just the recommended size. If you were to go to the Unreal website, it recommends these sizes. We can obviously, with world partition, we can actually go a lot bigger than that. So if we click the world partition size here, you can see there's a ton of sizes that we can do. Now, obviously, doing a 65 kilometer squared map, it's possible, but I guarantee nobody watching this has got a computer for that. Anything above a standard computer, I'm going to show a little bit of statistics that Dimension did. He did a lot of testing on these sizes going into Unreal, but 32 kilometers squared, this is about the biggest you can go. In order to run this, though, I guess I'll just go ahead and open it up now and show you. Let me see. Here we go. We got this. So here's what he broke down system requirements to be able to import these maps. Once you get them imported, it doesn't take quite these resources, but you have to, there's a little bit of leeway in this to be able to do it. But generally speaking, in order to import the map, you're going to need, for an 8-kilometer map, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need 32 gigabytes of memory and at least an RTX 50 with an 8 gigabyte. This is pretty much me right here. I got 64 gigabytes of memory and I've got a 3080 with 10 gigabytes. So it's going to require most of this to import it. So I technically really couldn't go over 16 kilometer. Anything over that on my system, I would have to tile. In Unreal 4.0, everything was pretty much a tile. At that point, you had to tile everything out, which was kind of a mess. But that's essentially what World Partition does. It automatically tiles everything for you and puts it into what they're calling cells. But anything above a 64, all modern systems can only really go up to 128 gigabytes of memory. And I think the 4090s, the new 4090s, I think have a little bit more memory, but you're really not going to get above this on any modern PC. So anything over that, if you want anything like that, like I said, look into tiling. I haven't messed with tiling. I don't plan on making a world quite that big. I'll probably do 16 kilometer at some point. Really, for my game, I'll do 16 kilometer map. But I think for today, we're just going to keep it simple because, well, I'm streaming. I don't want to accidentally crash a stream or anything. So we'll do some 8 kilometer, and any of the maps that we create here for any of you that are watching this, or any of the supporters, even if you can't make the live stream, if you end up watching this on replay, because you're a supporter during the time of this event, you can go in, and any of the maps, height maps we create today, I'll leave for a download. So you guys can go in and you can download all these maps. So together we'll find some cool maps, and anything that you want, we can look at today and get them imported and see how they look. Sorry, my throat's still messed up. I'm doing what I can, so hopefully I don't end up coughing or anything on stream. If I do, let me see, get a setting here. So I don't know. I tried to set a hotkey for my mute, but for some reason it wouldn't let me. So let me see if I can't. Hotkeys. Toggle microphone. I don't know why I can't set a hotkey for that. I'll have to look in that too a little bit later. No, hold on a second. Got any questions so far? All right. Cool. I don't know. Are you the only one here right now? I can't even tell. You can tell I am a noob at this. Yeah, it looks like you're probably the only one still in here. Not a big deal. Hopefully others can get in here before it's over. So let's just go right now. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and do a custom one right now. I'm just going to show you this interface a little bit. So if we start a new project, all I did was come up here. Sorry if that was a little loud. Go up here, new project. We open up, we got the UE. Let's just go ahead, and we should be able to do 8 kilometer maps without any issue. So select both of them, and we go okay. And it's going to open it up. Just hit okay. And that's going to throw us right in there. So let's hit the magnifying glass to zoom out a little bit and increase. The mouse wheel's really slow, so it always works better if you increase it a little bit. It's got the world map. I don't like having that there, or the grid. So select that, come up here to materials, and we can give it a color set. So it's going to dump it out right there. Right now, this is the color, pretty much just a flat line. Like if you're used to seeing automatic height maps and stuff, this is just kind of basic. This will give you a general idea. So if we come up here now and we go to, let's say, a noise map, let's run a gradient noise map, and it gives you a little preview window here of what this looks like. Now you can just run all these sliders here to kind of get what you want. Remember, this is all just pretty much noise, right? So that's all it is running off our different noise. This one in particular is a gradient noise map. So you can come in here and let's just go, like if you go eroded rivers, it's going to throw a bunch of in here. Now, like I said, the material, it shows these as rivers. Obviously, they're whatever you want it to be when you import the height map, but this is just kind of general. This is below the 0 bounds of the map, and then the rest is above. So you can just kind of raise everything. You can see this bar right here. Now, this is important when you're running all these dials and stuff up. If I go, you can see now it turns red as I was raising this gain. And if I raise it too much, you can see how the top of these just kind of flatten out. So what we do to offset that is you come down here to offset and we move it down. And what that's going to do is that's going to kind of move the map down. So you want this to be gray all the way through. So, you know, like I said, if you increase this, or if any part of this runs off, if it's up too high, you're going to get flat top mountains. And if it's too low, the same thing's going to happen here at the bottom. Is the bottoms, you know, even though this shows like they're rivers or whatever, but the bottoms are going to be flat just like that top was. So just try to keep that in mind as you're making your little maps here. Let's see, I'll set it. There we go. So we got that. There's just a bunch of different settings that you can run in here. We come in here. This one's actually kind of cool. Where is it? I don't see it on this one. Lava. Yeah, this is, I saw elsewhere, this is actually called, they called it Hell's preset or whatever, but you can come in here and just set some presets, just kind of get it however you want. But let's see, let's go to plaster. All right, just kind of run it, see if you want a lot of mountains, few mountains, hills, boulders, whatever. And then let's go ahead and raise this up. Now you're going to see it may not look like it's coming in too much. We're going to set some properties here to really get the hills popping up there. Let's see. There we go. We got that. So it doesn't look like too much right now. And actually, let me cancel that. I'm going to redo this gradient map. Let's go in here and where were we? Let's just do, we'll keep with the road to rivers right now. Run the gain up on that. All right, you can also hit randomize here to get some random looking seeds. So we'll do that, drop the gain down. I think that one looks all right. So let's just go ahead and punch OK. See what it looks like here. It looks kind of flat. What we could do here is if we come over here to the terrain properties, we can actually really, I think if we go here to the terrain properties on the mesh, we put the spacing 100 and 100 and apply that. I think these are the scaling for Unreal. It'll be a little bit more realistic or indicative of what it's going to look like in Unreal. So if we were to import this map, this is generally how it's going to look. This is going to be the scale in here. All right, and we're at 8 kilometers square, so this entire map's the 8 kilometers. But if we wanted the hills to be a little bit taller, we can come in here to the Y scale, and I just double that to 512. It seems to make me a little happier when I do that. Click apply, and it gives us a little bit of hills in here. So I think that looks pretty good. You can drop them down a little bit more if you want. And then there's other things, a lot of other things you can do in here. One of the important things to keep in mind when you're doing stuff, at least before we export it, you always want to keep it normalized. So if you notice here, when I normalize it, it's going to take the scale. It's kind of like if you've been into Blender or whatever, when you apply rotation, location, scale, that's kind of what it's going to do there. It doesn't really, it's not going to export. Can I make it lava and fiery rocks? It's not going to export it with these textures. This is just an internal texture. So whatever you really want this to be, whatever you want this to be. So if we come back over here and we go generate or noise map gradient, we go back into that lava one right here. It shows it here as this. Let's just do something here. It's just going to give us this texture for inside Terra Sculptor. So, I mean, it's like with anything, it's what you do with it in the engine. So if this just kind of gives you, if this is kind of what you're building in the engine, it just kind of gives you a little bit of a idea. So apply that, give it a little bit of mountainous looks. So, but yeah, no, these textures don't export. But that does, I thought that looks kind of cool. So a little bit of lava look in right there. So if you're doing like maybe a cave system or something like that, a deep cave system, I think that might look all right. Let's go back up here, gradient, and I think that looks all right. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and apply this. All right, so actually it's kind of rough. Probably should have fixed that. Let me do that one again. Gradient. It's pretty rough for my taste. So we come in here and kind of smooth it out a little bit. Now remember, roughness, that's a lot like any texturing software, if you use that, height maps, they're a grayscale map. So white is the peak, black is the very bottom, and 50% gray would be level, would be your level ground. So roughness, all this is doing is adding or subtracting white to it. So by doing this, it's just going to kind of smooth out any of the little bumps and humps in here. Not this is a big deal. That's set to bumpy, so that's why he gave us that one. Let's try that. That doesn't look too bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not even going to add the knock that up to 512. I want to see what this looks like in the engine. We can do a bunch of importing and stuff like that today, just to kind of see how things look. It shouldn't take too long as an 8 km map, 8 kilometer squared map. So let's see. Come up here to erosion. We can add some erosion to it. Now be careful with this, because when you're eroding your map, it could take a lot of time to be able to do it. So just keep that in mind. And it's kind of a weird, it doesn't show you the whole thing. It only shows you a portion of the map for some reason when you're doing that. See if we can get a little different look at it. But yeah, it can really take some time, and it takes a lot of processing power to be able to run the erosion. So I would recommend doing about a quarter. Usually you can get a better look at it and see what it's going to look like when you preview it. So you can kind of see it right in here. So you can go less or more if you want, but I'm just going to hit a quarter. I think that'll look okay. We can always undo it, but it'll take a couple seconds for it to complete. I'm looking at this. It looks like you're pretty far behind. And this erosion shouldn't be taking this long. I didn't set it to that much, so that kind of stinks. According to YouTube Studio, okay, that's weird. YouTube Studio looked like it still showed me back on the hellscape. So, but I just punched up the live stream, and so yeah, it's only about 5 seconds behind. So sorry this is taking so long. There we go. I didn't think the erosion was going to take that long, but we eroded it. You can see it now. It looks a little bit more realistic there. All right. So enough messing around with this. We're going to do a little bit. We're going to do a couple other custom maps here, but let's just go ahead and import this and let's see what this looks like. So I don't have Unreal open yet. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. Library. And I did, you saw, weird one, you saw that I did update in the recent video that'll be live to everybody else in another day or two to 5.1. So let's go ahead and open that up. And again, if you want these mountains a little bit higher, update the scaling. Maybe what I'll do here is I'm going to do this. We can go 100, 100, apply that. It's going to kind of compress it and get a little bit closer. All right. And let's see. Yeah, I think I'm all right with the mountain height, so I won't increase that at all. And I don't know if Unreal is opened yet. Yep, it has. So drop that down. Let's go ahead now. Again, I said just a minute ago, important to make sure they come up here to modify before you export it. Always hit normalize. That way it just makes sure that, there you go. You can see it kind of adjust right there because we knocked it down, the spacing. Because we knocked the spacing down, it changed the compression of it. If you don't normalize it, you can get some stair stepping. You may not get an accurate height map. So now let's go File, Export Terrain, and I'll dump it off in the live stream for now. And let's export it as a PNG. A lot of different file types that you can import and export at. I'm gonna just do regular PNG here, and let's go stream map 1, and it's an 8K. Make sure you save it as a 16-bit grayscale and hit OK. All right. Now we got it all exported. Let's open up Unreal. And here's our map. I'm going to create a new map. Let's see. Where do we do that at? File, new level, and I'm going to do an empty open world. Let's create it and go Window, Environment Light Mixer. I like this new Environment Light Mixer. Really makes, I was always confused of what I needed to add to actually get a nice atmosphere going. Sky atmosphere and height fog. There we go. That should work. Gets us our map. So now if we go landscape, let's go import from file and search. Let's see, it's on my desktop. Live stream map 1. So let's go ahead and open that up. There we go. Now we got the wireframe. We can increase the scale of this if we want to. I'm just going to import it as it is, 81. Make sure everything's right. 8161. Is that the right size that it was supposed to import at? 8161. Let me look real quick. Unreal landscape sizes. Should be an 8120 world partition. 81. Oh, okay. World partition's 8161. Okay. So yeah, 8129 is the recommended size, but because we're doing world partition, the way the cells work, I think the recommended size is 8161. Okay, so that's right. So open that back up. 8161 is the correct size. No need to mess with any of the rest of this. Let's go ahead and add our material. This is the auto landscape material that I talked about a while ago back in the creating a starter template. This was by Unreal Sensei. This is his landscape, so I haven't really done anything with it. I just imported in here. So use the instance of it and import. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Shouldn't take too long, but hard to tell with the while streaming how it goes. Did you have a good weekend? Boy, that height fog's pretty massive. Let's go selection, height fog. Let's actually remove it for now. And coming in, the world's all black. Good weekend. Yeah, it was pretty nasty. Never got above freezing here today or this weekend for us. Been snowing all weekend. It's always likes to wait till the weekend in order to make us miserable. So all right, so remember the landscape's black here. It's like that because we haven't really set that up yet. So if we come over here to, let's see, paint, Even though we set up the auto material, we need to set these up right here. So let's go add a layer info, weight layer, weight blended layer, and it can save it in. Let's go. I guess right there's fine. We'll worry about it later. Set that up. And there we go. Should hopefully now. Once it compiles the shaders. There we go. And obviously we can come over here. We can do the same thing with this. This isn't really a landscape tutorial, but punch it in here anyways. All right, and then we can come over here and do a little bit of painting. Yeah, video memory. That's no fun. Must be because I'm streaming as well, so hopefully that'll go away. So yeah, so here's the landscape. Let me up our speed here. So we can get an idea of what this looks like. So yeah, I think that imported pretty good. Obviously the material's probably gonna need a little bit of work, a little touch up. Just, you know, that's just how it goes. So world partition, showing everything is loaded right now. Let's see, focus selection. It's not showing me my mini map right now. Not quite sure why, but that's okay. Go over here. So now we can get let's just drop in a player start. Where is it? Basic. Where is that? Player start, man. Ooh, system's kind of lagging a little bit doing the stream here with this. Get out of landscape mode. There we go. All right. So now, hopefully if we play it, get an idea of what the map looks like as a regular player. So yeah, that imported pretty good. Didn't do any scaling on it. Just kind of left it as it was. So maybe in the upcoming maps that we do, maybe we'll do that as 4K maps. 4-kilometer maps. So that way maybe it'll be a little easier to process. Yeah, so I think that came out pretty good. It looks all right. Stream distance is pretty low on there. You could see it wasn't loading in those back mountains in there. If you're unfamiliar, you can always pre-compute visibility. By doing that, it's got some trade-offs here. It tells you pre-computing reduces the render thread time at the cost of runtime memory and increased lighting build time. So you can pre-compute, make it a little bit faster if your worlds run a little bit slow with a large map. You can pre-compute it, and it should run a little bit faster. Remember what that information I showed too about the size of what your memory should be in your video card and all that to import these. That's just to import it. Once you get it in, you actually only need about half the memory. Let me show you here. Let's see if I can load it up without actually task manager. Show you what my performance looks like. Memory right now. Well, it shows I'm using 37 gigs of memory. That's streaming and running this, but let me see. Once I have this active, see if my memory changes. No, my memory is still at 37 gigabytes used. It dropped a little bit once I selected off of it. My GPU, you could see that peak. That jumped up quite a bit when this was active. So if I select this again, my GPU, it jumps up to 100% usage. So yeah, it's very taxing to run these things, but it's using a virtual memory. So it's using part of the system memory coupled with the video memory. But we'll do it a little bit lighter on the next one. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to go streaming at the same time, but not too bad. So we've got this. Any questions so far on how to import this? What do you think? How do you think, other than, I mean, obviously the texture is going to need a little bit of work. You know, it's touch up. It's good texture. You just gotta tune it into your needs. But what are you thinking? Any questions on the import process or anything like that so far? All right, so let's go ahead and kind of give you the basic rundown of doing that, just kind of randomly creating a map. So now let's kind of do something a little bit more specific, a little bit more custom of a map. If you got any questions, go ahead and stop. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat at the same time. Sorry, I had a cough there. So for this, you're going to need, you could probably even just do it in Paint if you want to. I'm going to do some Photoshop. You can use GIMP, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you got. I'm just going to use Photoshop. This is actually an old version of Photoshop. This is actually CS5. So this is a version I got a long time ago, and Adobe's pretty expensive with their software, and they want subscriptions. I'm not a huge fan of subscriptions these days. If the deal's right, then yeah, at least with the Substance Designer. Well, I don't know about anymore. Substance, I know when Adobe first took over Substance, they kept it this way, but you could buy a subscription for a year, and then you'd have that perpetual license for that software for that year, so you can always use that software even when your subscription's up. But I think they actually recently changed that, so that kind of sucks. But all right, so let's go ahead and open up your Photoshop or GIMP or Paint for that matter. Like I said, whatever you want to do. Let's open up a new one. Now you want to make this canvas panel the same size. We're going to do 4K. We're going to do 4K map. So let me double check here. Tool, Unreal Sizes. Let's do, 4033 by 4033. So make this new one the same size of the map that you want to do. So we're going to do 4K map. So hopefully maybe it runs a little bit faster. I wish I could engage more, but on the one hand, I want to see what you have to teach. And that's all right. Yeah, no, that's fine. If you got anything, throw it in there. 1.5 minutes behind. Hopefully, like I said, Studio shows that I'm about that far behind as well. But if I actually type up the live stream, then it looks like I'm pretty much right on time here. So yeah, it might be a combination of me pushing it up through. It says my stream health is healthy. So yeah, sorry about that if you're a little bit behind, but that's okay. Just to ask your questions, even if it's behind, no hurry. I can come back to it and answer whatever you got. So if you got anything or you want me to do anything, keep in mind, we're going to be doing some importing of some real world maps here in just a couple minutes. So if there's like a region or something you want us to go kind of look for maps, we can kind of look in that region so you can see what something specific in that area looks like. So not a big deal. So just think of a region, keep that on hand, and if you got something, punch it in chat, and I'll have it, and I can scroll back to it when we get to that point. So, all right. So now with the Photoshop, we got here, like I said, make the width and the height the size of what you want your map to be. So a 4033, 4033, do resolution 96, grayscale 16-bit, set it to background color, and the background color, even if it comes up white, make sure you set the background to black. Remember, height maps are a grayscale map between 0 and 1, being 0 being black, 1 being white. So anything in between there's going to be the intermediate size. So the back we want to set as black, and then you can pretty much paint anything you want on here, and in a white scale or grayscale, and you're going to be good to go. That's going to be your map. But obviously you're not going to get anything too spectacular by just putting in a blob here. But we can use Terraformer to kind of help us out a little bit. So let me show you what I mean here. So we got the black background. We're painting in white. So I don't know, we can create a custom shape, or let's just go ahead and grab your the elliptical tool, and let's just whatever we want here. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to drag out some guidelines here so I know where the middle of this is. Let's grab our shape and move it up here. Let's center it up. There we go. That seems to be centered. So we got that. So now before we do anything, right now it's set as a smart object in the, I use my neighborhood Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I don't blame you. That's why you and I were talking about the other day is, you know, at this day and age, Wi-Fi or internet service around the globe should be free, you know, but it's just, unfortunately it's not, but it should be. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, so the, we've got this now. So before we do anything, while it's a smart object, do whatever you want to. Let's go ahead and distort it. You can add other marks in here, blend them together. You know, if you're familiar with GIMP or Photoshop, anything like that, work it out to your heart's content. I'm not going to get too involved with this because while we're doing a live stream, I got a few other things I want to cover, and we're already, about 50 minutes into this. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to come over here to edit, transform path, and I'm just going to do a distort on it and click the warp button here so we get a little extra handles. And let's just kind of warp this out a little bit. Right, just kind of do something to it. Got our handles here. And what we're going to do with this now, just so you know, this is going to end up being like an island. We're going to set this up just kind of as an island. We're going to use it for a couple things, but initially this is going to be an island. So this is just going to be the shape of what we got here. Okay, so let's go like that. I don't like this right here. See if I can round that out a little bit more. All right, that's fine, I guess. Then, like I said, we can take other things and punch it in here too. Why don't we do that? We'll take another ellipse tool and let's just kind of move it around. And we'll distort this one a little bit as well. All right, oops, sorry about that if that was a little noisy. And marquee. All right, that gives us a general, yeah, I don't like that. Let me fix this real quick. I don't like how that overlaps right there. Edit, transform path, distort. Let's go back in here. I just don't like how that, I don't like that sharp corner right there, how that meets. I want to try to round that out a little bit if I can. All right, let me see. Try turning down the system sounds a little bit, so hopefully that's not as bad. Did my volume go down at all? Do you hear me less than you did just a second ago? I think it probably did. So let me up that up. Maybe game window capture. Maybe that's a little bit better in case I get those dings again. Apply it. Let's see if I can't get it a little bit better here. Yeah, still kind of got that sharp corner in there, but I'll deal with it. Actually, that's horrible. I like the first shape better. So we'll get rid of that. Anyway, so this isn't too important. We're going to do something a little bit better with this in just a little bit. Let me delete this one if I can. Delete layer. Yes. All right, we'll just leave it at this. And this will be our shape. So now if we come up here to filter and blur, let's throw in a Gaussian blur. It's going to tell us we can't do that because we need to flatten this image. So right click on the shape, flatten image. It can combine it. So now we can't really alter its shape. So let's go back to filter, Gaussian blur. There we go. Want to add at least a 20 pixel blur here because what this will do, this is kind of going to mellow out the edges for us. So it just kind of flattens everything out. So it's not just a real steep drop off. So I got it about 26. So hit OK. I got to cough again. All right. All right, so we got that. So yeah, so we'll call that good for now. We'll be back into Photoshop in just a little bit. I'll show you a different thing that we're gonna end up doing. So, but we could take this now. So now if we go File, Save As, and save it as a PNG, we'll call this. We'll just call it Island Map 1. Save it as PNG. No interlace. All right, so now we got that. So now if we come back over here into TerraSculptor and let's go File, New Project, and we want this to be the 4033. Select OK. Let me see. What do we want to do? Yep, we'll do that 4033. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me find my notes. Yep, okay. No, we don't want to save the current project. All right, so we got, excuse me, we got our new project opened up. So now what we need to do is let's go noise map. Again, we're going to run a gradient. I'm just going to come up here. Let's do like a eroded river since we're doing an island here, and just kind of find the design that's going to make you happy. Do a little bit of work on it. All right. Decent height mountains. Now remember our height map, it's going to be laid over right over this. So we put that image right in the center here. So this center is what's going to end up being our island. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for your randomized map or whatever map you're looking for. So right now we'd have a, that might not be too bad just for demonstration. We'll have that little mountain right in the center of our map, or right in the center of our island. So let's see how this looks. So now we got this. Let's go ahead and accept this now. Okay. And again, I'm going to come in here. It always turns on the home grid. I don't like that home grid. Wish it could set it off permanently. I've still got the materials set up. Let's see the properties. We're going to leave that. Actually, let's go like this for now. 100. And 100. This may not be necessarily in the 5.0. but this is how it used to be done in the Unreal Engine 4 was setting that to 100. But so let's just apply that. It's just going to modify it down. It's still a 40 by 33 map, so it just kind of compresses it down. So let's go normalize that. There we go. Sets it up, normalizes everything. Probably a little too high. Let's knock this down to 128. Remember, this is an island. Don't necessarily need a huge. Let's just go 200, see how that looks. Don't need huge mountains there. All right. So now I'm going to normalize it again, so that way that change we just made will take effect. So now if we come up here to transform, go to shaper, and we want the source, have file selected, browse for a file, and we want to go to where we just saved that, and we were looking for a PNG. So grab the island map, open that up, and there we go. This is the shape that we just made, set into an island. So now the map that this is laying over, that it's masking, we can set the amount that we want in there. So we can go up as high as a couple 100% of that, but obviously you're going to reach the top of the map and it's going to flatten out like that. So probably won't really be able to hit the way I set up the original map was I kind of pushed the boundaries anyways. But if this was already still too high, we can come in here now that we see what it looks like, and we can lower this down a little bit. Just try that. There we go. So this is our little island, and you can see pretty easily now that inside Photoshop how easy it would be to kind of just create your own little map, and you just overlay it. You don't need to worry about all the little hills and domes and things like that, and you can just kind of lay things out however you want and just lay it on top of the other map, and boom. And I'm going to show you something else here in just a minute that we can kind of do like this, not with just islands, but now just kind of blending a couple like biomes or whatever together, a couple different masks together to be able to create something else that's kind of unique. So yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. So let's go ahead, and since we got this, let's just take this and import this, see what this looks like in Unreal. So let's go ahead again. Always make sure you normalize before you send it across. You can see it makes a change right there. File, export terrain. We want to export it as a PNG. We'll call this island map 1-8K, or no, we're doing 4K, 4 kilometers. Save it. Yep, that'll work. 16-bit. And I didn't do any erosion on there. Don't really need it. We're just testing things out here. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up Unreal again. And let's open up we're going to have to save this one. Let's call this Stream Map 1. And we're going to save it in the Maps folder. So any of these two moving forward, if any of you guys don't have a PC that can handle importing a large map, once you see those system requirements and you don't think that you can import one of those maps, or you try to import, the worst you can do if you import one of these maps and your system is unable to do it, you're just going to get as it's loading it in, you're going to get a memory buffer error or something like that, and it'll crash the system on you. So then you can't import that size of a map, and then you just downgrade to the next map size that you want to try to do and try to import that. But like I said, importing it takes more memory than actually running it in here, and especially with world partition, you've got all the mini map in here. You can stream and load whatever cells that you want, so you can actually work on a big map. It's just more difficult to import it. So anyways, what I was saying with that is, if any of you guys watching this that are current subscribers during this live stream, whether you're here or not, if you want, I can import a map. I can create a project with a specific map that you want and import it, and then I can just give you the project and you can do whatever, you'll be able to load it up in your world. It's just a little easier than importing it. So keep that in mind. And also, one thing to keep in mind too with world partition, if you're still on 5.0 with world partition, when you've got the mini map open here, your FPS is going to cut in half. It's going to tank. So let me show you here. Show FPS. You can see I'm floating at about 110 right now. It's they fixed it in 5.1, but you can see that when I'm not in my mini map, I'm getting the same FPS as I am on the mini map. But if you punch this in on 5.0, then your FPS is going to go into the red. It goes down to about 20, 30 frames a second on my computer, and I've got a pretty good computer. So keep that in mind. World partition, it's at least in 5.1 so far. It's definitely far better than 5.03. So upgrade if you plan on doing world partitions or doing any of this. All right, so let's go ahead and load up the new map or create a new map. File, new level. Again, open world, empty open world. Window, environment, sky, atmosphere, skylight, and height fog. Close that out, and I'm just gonna get rid of the height fog. I know I put it in and then delete it, but anyways, that's my process. So we'll take a landscape, and let's go ahead and import that new one. Import island map 4K. Let's select OK. And you can see already that there's a mountain right there. So looking at the wire map, if you think that's going to be too high for you, for your map, now remember this is an island, so that might actually be too high. So then just come in here and you can adjust the scale, I think, afterwards, but let's go 50%. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it seems like it kind of mellows it out a little bit. Maybe a little bit higher would be okay, but let's just go ahead, and we got the same material, and hit import. All right, so we got this loaded up. So let's go ahead and fix the material now. And we'll do that. We'll just load in what we've already got. Saving the layer material. I'm going to create the new one. I haven't done this one yet. I think this is the actual cliff. Let me see. Let me cancel that. All right. Anyway, I just want to see where it was saving the data layers. It saved it in two different spots. All right, so let's create this one. Data layer. We'll save it in there. Yeah, I think that's mostly just showing up bad because of the stream, because I'm not running it. But yeah, so anyways, here's our island. Of course, we got land right here, but you just throw in a water plane, bring it up to the edge of the level. You got a 4 kilometer square total map that I imported here on our little island. which I think looks kind of good. This would be a pretty rough island to try to live on, but if you're doing an island survival or something, you know, you can see some peaks here. And then the nice thing too, even when you do this, you can come in here and you can, you know, do your own sculpting and smooth brush. And let's see, tool string. Let's knock that down. You can come in here and knock down some of the rougher edges like this. You know, so you can still do a lot of work. There's a lot of things with landscaping. You know, you're gonna spend a lot of time getting your levels and your maps together. You know, the key is just man, this material. Yeah, I'll have to look at this when I'm not streaming and see how this why this is all messed up, because it should be. That's plenty of the material. It's good material. So yeah, so we got that again, the island. So even though this is showing up as grass, you put in a water plane, bring it up, drop it along the edge, and now you've got your own little island. So own little custom shape island. So let's show you this next thing where we're blending a couple things together. You can get some custom shapes or whatever, blend it between two different biomes. So let's save this. We'll call it Stream Map 2. All right, loading that up. All right, so let's drop this back down now. Let's jump back into Photoshop. Again, I'm going to open up a new project. We're going to keep the settings the same, 4033, 4033, 96. So select OK here. We got the black background. So Dimension did this in one of his videos too. So I'm going to just kind of keep the same thing here. But let's just go ahead and add a text. Again, you could, like we talked about in the last one, you could do any shape that you want to do, right? So, but the nice thing about doing something like a text is it's already got some pretty unique shapes. So let's find something that's got kind of unique shapes. You don't want to get too crazy with it because you'll lose some details. I tried doing the letter K. You can see here my testing, I did K in Old English. And let me see. Let me move this down. I did K in Old English, and most of this right in here, this detail was kind of lost. So in the map, so you don't want to get too crazy with the look here. But if we go, I don't know, what letter, pick a letter, weird one. What do you want to do? I know you're a little bit behind me, so I'll wait for you to catch up. What letter do you want to see where this is going to be represented? We're going to see this in our map. So just pick something with unique shape, and I'll look for some decent font. Q. All right, let's do, whoops. Hopefully that wasn't too loud again. Let's go. Q. You want capital or little? You did little, so let's do little q. Maybe. I got the Q. We'll do little q there. Okay, and let's find some decent font for it. Oops. Find something. You want to try to find something maybe a little bit. This actually might be a good time to find something like a you know, where wingdings might actually come into effect. You get, you know, different shapes and stuff. Let's just type it in and see what the wingding for Q is. And an interesting wingding. What about 2? Use a magic 8-ball and a triangle. Nothing spectacular for that. So again, let's just find some interesting font. Yeah, so fat, remember this is going to be the map, so too weird of detail is going to look funny. It's not going to really show up in it, but something you can get kind of a little unique. That, oops. That was kind of, that'd be kind of a unique Q. Let's try. I don't want to spend too much time looking for fonts. That might be kind of interesting. Let's see. Let's just do something traditional. Times New Roman. There we go. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Comic Sans. Let's try that one. See how that one comes out. And you can't go any bigger than a 1296 font, at least in my version here. So what we will do is we'll just expand it out here to whatever size we want. Shift and Alt. The heck? Yeah, I'm lagging a little bit. Undo, step back. I can't, so. All right, so again, this will be used as kind of like a mask for our map. So we got that. Let's go ahead and apply its location. And let's flatten this. It's not a smart object, so we'll rasterize it and then flatten it down so it combines the two. Filter, Gaussian blur right there. Let's go 23, see how that looks. I think that'll be fine. Let's do, actually I would do a little bit softer or a little bit more hard edges. All right, so we got the letter Q. Let's go ahead and save this as a PNG again. Save as PNG. Q mask. All right, drop Photoshop. Let's open up Terrasculptor again. Grab my notes here. So let's go gradient noise again, and let's pick something a little bit different. Let's go plaster maybe. And derivative glacial bumpy. Let's just kind of change this a little bit. Now remember, this is going to be in the middle, but we're going to end up blending these two biomes together here. So let's go something like this. I think this should probably be pretty good. There's other settings down here you can go and check. You can do enable a warp to your maps if you want. So yeah, there's quite a few settings you can do in here. These other ones, if you want to explore with these, then do it. I encourage you to check it out. So let's go OK. And yeah, I did do it as 4033. So this is the map. We're going to end up blending into this one. So let's go modify, normalize. I'm going to raise these mountains a little bit. I'm going to do a 512. I'm going to go 100, 100. Apply that. That might be a little too much. Let's try 400. Probably still a little too much. All right, there. I think that might be a little bit better. And again, we'll come back over here and normalize this. And let's save this. We're going to export the terrain. And we're going to do this as biome. We'll call it biome mask. Save it as a PNG. 16-bit grayscale. All right, there we go. So we got that. So now if we come back over here to a new gradient map, we're going to choose a different gradient map. And let's do this one. We did that one as rough mountains. Or no, we did that as plaster. Let's do eroded rivers again. We're going to get this in here. Now this is going to be our P shape or our Q shape. So our Q would actually end up being right around into here. Let's kind of mix it around a little bit. Let's see, something unique. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. And we'll adjust the gain here, get this moved up. All right, roughness is probably a little too high for me. Let's knock that down some, maybe right around in there. All right, so let's go ahead now and hit OK. We'll save that. So now we got this. Now if we come up here to, like we did with the last one, let's hit, what is it, transform. We go shaper. Right, let me see. Yep, shaper, we changed that. We got the, change the mask. We want to do the Q mask and open that up. So there we go. So if we're happy with that, I probably should have did. That's pretty sharp fall off on the Q, but that's okay. I think we'll be okay on that because we can actually, you know what, just for the looks of it, we're going to leave that in right here. So this is our Q. Probably should have did a little bit more of a gradient map, a gradient filter, or excuse me, the Gaussian blur on this Q mask in the game, but, or in the Photoshop, but that's fine. We'll leave it right there. Select OK. So now we've got this one. So now if we come up here to transform, come down to blend, and we've got this one. So we need to go to select external file and find our, where's it? The biomass that we just created prior. Open that guy up. And now that it's loaded, you come down here to the amount, it's set to 0. And as we raise this, now that mask or that biome, that original one, is going to be blended in with this one. So this is what the new mask looks like. So now we got, you know, if you set this up high enough, this could be like your mountains or whatever you want, right? So you got it in here and you just kind of decide how much amount of the second one you want the original one to influence this one. So we'll leave it, that Q from above is still noticeable. Let's hit OK. And there we go. So yeah, so that's your custom map. So, you know, you can really kind of see what the power of this, of just being able to go in. We made some pretty quick mask, just a plain white mask, and really, if I was doing this, I would probably go in a little bit more grayscale instead of pure white when I'm doing like the Q or something like that, and then do a little bit sharper, a little bit steeper, you know, that I see how steep this is. Do a little bit more of a Gaussian blur to kind of level that out. And there's some stuff in here we could probably really go in and blur this out as well, you know. But if you're in playing the game, you know, this isn't going to be super noticeable as a Q, but you get up, you know, you look at it from above and you got your special Q there that is set into the map. So we come in here, let's go ahead and export this. We might as well go and throw this one in as well. Right, so let's do that real quick, and then we'll do a couple different versions of some real world terrain. Where we at? We're sitting at about an hour and 20 minutes, about an hour and 15 of actual talking. So not too bad. Still got you with me, so that's good. And yeah, so let's go ahead now and export this. Again, make sure we normalize this before we export it. Okay, there you go. Kind of got a little bumpy right there. So yeah, I think that actually looks kind of cool like that. So file, export terrain. Let's go Q. Actually, we'll just do lowercase q map. And it's 4K, so 4K. Save it out. And let's go drop it in here. And file, new level, open world basic. Let's create it. Just like we've been doing. I won't throw in the height fog this time, I guess. There we go. That'll work for now. Always add the height fog later. Landscape. And select our Q map. Open that up. That seemed to load it up pretty quick. Okay. So there's that. We're going to leave the scale. Well, actually, that's the scale of 50. Last import settings. If we did 100, and we'll leave it at 100. We'll see how it looks. We didn't raise up the mountains too much. Let's see how it looks if we just brought it in straight across. 4033. Import, same material. Let's go ahead and import. Oh, I can go however long. I mean, you know, we'll do a couple things. I'm not trying to rush through this, and you know, I'm here to be with you and be with you guys, and you know, answer any questions you got, whether it's about this or whatever. I just, you know, I've been wanting to try to do something special for you guys, for all my supporters, and you know, just try to do a little bit more of this and see what you guys think. You know, try to get a little bit more involved, and you know, I'm just always nervous. You know, I don't live stream too much, so getting into here, you know, is a little nerve wracking. So this is good entry to getting into doing it, and hopefully I can start doing a little bit more of these. And you know, when I get home at work, after work or something, you know, we could just sit down and do a unlisted stream and just, you know, work on things together or something. You know, I'm not too worried about it. I already had dinner. I've got nothing else going on tonight, so we can go a little bit longer till we're done. Let's see, paint. Yeah, that's fine. If I know you're about a minute behind me, is what you said. So if I ask questions and I don't hear nothing, then you know you'll at least be able to come back and do the live stream. If I don't get any feedback, any questions when I'm done doing my presentation, getting through all this stuff, then no big deal. I'll just end the stream and you can watch the replay of it. Really curious about all these dark spots. So it's got to be because I'm just running out of memory here on the computer, because those shouldn't be there. I'll check it all out and send pictures in Discord or something so you can see how it looks. All right. So yeah, so now let's jump up here. This is our P map, or our Q map rather. There's the Q. Let me jump this up to 8. So there you go. There's our Q map. So that's actually kind of cool. So you come down here and let's see if we drop in. Just got some ridges here. So if you do some good texturing right here. Yeah, I'm on the West Coast. Yeah. So I know where you're at. I won't say it on live stream. I know where you're at. So yeah, you've got a couple hours on me, but I figure at the same time too, you're usually talking to me in Discord for, you know, a couple hours from now. So, but yeah, no, I'm sure it's past your bedtime. I'm a late night person. I don't get home from work until, let's see, I don't get off work until 11, home by midnight. Sometimes I work a little bit later, but I'm home by midnight, and you know, so I'm a night owl. I usually don't go to bed till 5 a.m. I try to shut down mentally about 3 to 4, watch a little TV or something, watch a little, my mental unwind when I go to bed at night is usually, I watch an episode or two of Big Bang Theory. It's a good mental wind down for me. It just makes me laugh, doesn't make me think too hard, and that way it just kind of, it's been working pretty good. It just kind of shuts me off at night. So yeah, that's been my little secret to getting to sleep on time. So let's see, let's get off of landscape mode. I'm going to drop in a player start. I just want to run in this one and see what this looks like. So let's hit play. There we go. Our Q map. So yeah. Just puts into perspective when you actually start running around the map. You know, when you're just sitting here like this, you know, it's hard to see how big the world is. Of course, let me see. Show actors, focus world. Let go world settings real quick. I want to stream distance a little bit further. Grids right here. if you're not too familiar with world partition, you can see here, let's play this again. You can see we're not picking up all the map. We've got a 4K map, but it's not picking it all up. That's the streaming distance. You can see there, like, you know, I usually do, I'm pointing at my screen, like you can see it, shift F1. You can see here in load range, we're loading, these are in centimeters, so we're only loading 256 meters around us, right? So if we zoom around here, that's all we're loading in is 256 meters. So that's nowhere near what we need. Oops, I didn't mean to exit out of there. But so you can see all that we're missing. So depending on the size of your map, really, I think if you want to block long distances, you should probably do it using like your exponential height fog or something like that to kind of help block out, make things far away, a little bit blurry. So depending on what you have your stream distance at, keep that in mind. You can use your exponential height fog to kind of help mask things not loaded up in the background. You know, just make it real thick so it seems like, you know, it's just blocking the mountains in the background. But you obviously want more than 256. So it depends on, we're running a 4K map here. I heard 5K is actually really the best streaming distance you should have, you know, but it just depends on your terrain. If you got a long flat terrain, you know, you should have that. But if you got high peaks at the same time that the player can crawl up onto, he's going to be able to see the entire map out in the distance, right? So you got to be able to stream that to him. You don't want to unload it. So with your exponential height fog, I heard actually a 5 kilometer distance is really the way to go. So what is that? That's 512,000 centimeters. So if you do a load range of 512,000, and now if we hit play, that's going to essentially, since this is a 4K map, it's going to have it all loaded. So we'll see the entire 4K map right there. So let's I always hold shift down to run, but I forget I haven't set up running on this yet. I'm just so used to doing it. I need to incorporate a shift in the, as you heard in the early preview, since we updated to 5.1, I'm going to do some enhanced input. So we're going to start setting up some of our inputs to be a little bit better, a little bit more user friendly, I think. So we'll set up some other things. Yeah, so that's it. That's your loading distance right there. So there's part of the queue right there. It's just a nice ridge. You can throw in some nice cliffs, put some like rock meshes on there or something, or just have a nice material to go up there and to show some nice cliffs. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. That software is pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. You know, you can get pretty crazy with your maps, but it's pretty easy to just do that. Now we're going to do some real world. Let's go ahead and save this one to stream map 3. I'm going to give it the letter Q, and we'll save that one. One thing to keep in mind, even with these real world height maps, it's going to be the distances aren't going to line up. And really, I've loaded up like my home area. I've done my home area before, and it takes a little bit. Even though I've lived here my whole life, it's taken me a little bit to actually figure out where it's at, right? I mean, because you're looking like this is a 4 kilometer map, and we're looking at it in the size of the screen. So, you know, to actually find out where you're at you've got to have some pinpoint accuracy. But at the same time, like I said, depending on the map you get at the resolution quality, is going to really depend. So when you're using real world, just keep that in mind, that you're going to get the scale and the mountains. You're going to have all that. You're going to have the feel of all that, but the actual distance between everything, it's not going to end up being there. So don't assume that, you know, it takes me it's only 7 miles from me to this part of town, but when I measure that on the game, it's just not going to line up. Hopefully you understand that. And, but you can definitely get the region. So, you know, or at least a general idea of the region. I'll explain that as we get into that. So, let's go ahead and do that now. So there's actually, if we go back in here to Terra Sculptor, there is, let's go file. We'll come up here to tools. and go to right here. There's a link here under tools, digital elevation model sites. So if we select that, this is a partial list. There's a ton of different places out there. This isn't an exhaustive list, but he's compiled a list of some of the better places that you can go to get height maps. Excuse me, for more areas. He's got some UK here, Ecuador. You know, like when we go, we're going to go here in a minute to USGS site, and where you can see a map, and you can actually see a map of the world, but it's the USGS sites. I don't think they'll actually have information that is posted on you know, from Africa or something. If you want a map from Africa, you're gonna have to have a place that actually has that data for Africa. I think USGS is probably only going to show you information that is compiled, even though, you know, the government's got maps of the entire world, got it all landscape. I don't know. I've never tried to do it, so you might be able to. Maybe the USGS site has maps of those, but probably not. If they do, they're probably not that great at maps. So when you're in here looking, there's a couple places. I haven't been to all these. There's actually only 2 that I've been to. One of the things you want to look for here is resolutions. To really get the best resolution, that's going to be like a virtually 1-to-1, and we're going to be having to resize these maps. So like I said, you're not going to have a true 1-to-1 on this, but the raw data we get from the site, that's going to be the most realistic, is going to be the 1 meter resolution. Okay, so I haven't been to this one here. This is Canadian 1 meter and 2 meter maps that they have on there. So if you wanted a map from Canada somewhere, and honestly, nobody's going to recognize where that map comes from unless you tell somebody, hey, this is the map of this area, right? And you're going to be playing in Kansas City. You're going to be playing in, you know, downtown this, or, you know, we're over in New York. You got Manhattan. This is Manhattan Island. And then people go, oh, hey, yeah, I recognize this section of the island, whatever. Unless you do that, people aren't going to really notice, right? So you just want to find some cool terrain that is, you know, is real world, right? We're just trying to replicate the real world. So, you know, it saves us a lot of time to having to go in here and do all the erosion ourselves and tweak all these little landscapes. Although these tools are powerful, it's still a lot of work to come in here and try to get something realistic. And even though it gets just pretty close at this point, but that's a nice thing about using realistic. However, with all that said, the 30 meter, the other place we're going to go to is 30 meter. You're going to see some issues. We're going to go do the 1 meter first. We'll do the 1 meters here. That's going to be better, but it's going to be harder to find usable maps. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's get in here, and it tells you here the access. It tells you what kind of access it is. So the one we're going to do this 1 meter right here, and voids. This is going to be our problem, is it's got voids, right? So if you find one that says no voids, then you're going to find much easier maps. But our access to 1 meter maps, they're far and few between to find ones that don't have voids in them. So you're just going to have to do a lot of research, and you may not be able to find your specific area that you want. You know, if you're looking for your hometown, whatever, you may not find it you may not find a good map of it this way at a 1 meter, but I guarantee we'll find them at 30 meters. So we'll start here with the 1 meter. So if I select this, just come up here to copy, select copy, close that down for now and minimize that. And if I bring over our map and paste that in here and hit enter, we're going to be presented with this website here. And open this up. So this is just a repository, right? This isn't going to be real user friendly. So what you need to do is you come in here and you select projects. Right, it's going to give you a list of, well, every state in the United States. So where you want us to look? Weird one. You got a general state or area that you want us to try to find a good map in? See how the stream quality is doing. Atlanta, Georgia. All right, let's see what we can find there. The ATL. AL is Alabama. Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know why I was looking for Atlanta. Georgia, GA. Georgia. Let's see, we got areas. I'm not quite sure. We got statewide, Georgia County, Lidar County. I'm not quite sure where Atlanta would fall into this. There's going to be a bunch of maps. Let's just start from here. We'll go Georgia anyways. A1 2016 is when these maps were taken. So let's select this one. And when we come in here, you got these three now. So you got the TIFF. This is where we're going to get our information from. But first, we got to find a good map to use. Like I said, some places are going to have, or some areas of the country are going to have a lot more maps. Just depends on them. So here, Georgia, there's actually a lot of maps for us to go through that you can go through and try to find a specific area. And if you know, like the longitude and latitude, let's go. Let's see. Lat long Atlanta, Georgia. Let's do that. So 3384 is Atlanta, Georgia. So if we come in here, 33, you could try to find it because that's the X and the Y. This should, I believe, is the longitude and latitude of where you're looking. So I think we're totally in the wrong area. If that was, what was it? 33 and 84 general area. We got the 33 right, or we're in that general area, yeah, but we're in the wrong longitude. So let's try this other one. Let's just see if we can get a little bit closer to that. Georgia, check the second one. Browse. And the reason why I say browse is because browse is going to have, this is all you can see here. They're all JPEG, so we can actually see what the map looks like. And I'll show you some here in a minute. 33. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get any around the Georgia area or around the Atlanta area. Let's try this one. Nope, not in there. Statewide. Nope, these are all in the 300s, so probably not. We can look at that. We'll look at that at the next one, but we'll stay in Georgia anyway. So let's go back to this first one here, the A1. Going to browse. Now you're going to see here. You can check all these out if you want. Right now, my recommendation is to find one of a higher size, higher file size. That's not always true. It's not always going to be the case. Some of the higher file sizes are going to have voids in them as well. Some of the lower ones won't have any voids. It just depends on the map itself and where the region is, how much information is in that map. But try to find one with the higher sized files because they're most likely going to end up being a better quality. So just select one. See right here, you can see there's this big void in here. So you can't use this map because that's just, there's got that void in there. So you come down 9.8. See, now there's a small void in here, but that you might be able to even get away with that because you can see there's a low point in here. You could probably even just take this if this was like an area you knew and you wanted to use. You can go in there and you could probably even just touch that up a little bit. But if you just find some of the higher ones, see now there's no voids in here. It looks like that might be a void, but that's just a huge valley in between these mountains, right? So this is what the map looks like. So you just want to go through and get an idea. And if you understand the maps with the whites and the blacks, where white's the highest point, the highest peak in the map, and the black is the lowest part of the map. And, you can get a rough idea, as developers. I'm sure we're used to looking at texture maps and height maps, so we can kind of visualize what this is going to look like. So you can see there's a nice, decent sized mountain here. It's not too peaked. It's nice and flat. And it comes down, and then you got a good slope off right here into what looks to be some erosion that goes down through here. Now these maps that we're looking at, they're 1 meter maps. So these actually, when we export these, they're going to export at a 10K map. This is a 10K area, roughly 10K. So they come down at, I'll show you when we get in there, but yeah, they're roughly 10K, and we're going to downscale them. You want to scale them or resize them, resample them to the nearest, so you can resample them to whatever size you want, but for the best quality, the closest size. So you can do an 11K map, so it would scale it up just a little bit, and that'd probably be the closest we'll get to the actual representation of this area, or scale it down to the 8K, and you'll still be pretty close to right on. But yeah, these are pretty close to 10K maps, so that one's not too bad. That's a nice little gap right there. If you see one that you like, you know, say something. You can see right here, 21, 354. That's the area of this one. So that one's good so far. So I'm going to put that in map or in the chat, just so we remember to come back to this one in case we can't find another one. 21, 354. There we go. So got that. So now we come out here, try to find another one. Just, you know, this is all just hit or miss. Wow, look at that. This is like, that's pretty interesting. That's not quite what I'm looking for from my map, but it's got a big void here down the side. But, you know, really, you could take this, put this into Photoshop if you really like this and you wanted to get rid of that. You know you're going to be sampling this down anyway, so you could take this into Photoshop or GIMP or heck, Paint for that matter, and you could just crop out a nice square out of here and then just take that and use that. You know, crop out your 8K size, your 8161 size square, and cut that out and put it in there. So you could do that as well if you find one that you know, if this really piqued your interest and it's just got that void there, work around it. You know, do what you got to do. So open that one up, big voids. So, but yeah, when we do the 30 meter, we won't have any of the voids, but they're not as good a resolution. You're getting in the map, you're getting a smaller size map. Like I said, when we export these, they're going to come out at a 10,000 by 10,000 size, pixel size map. Whereas when we do the 30 meter, they're actually going to be coming at us at about 3,000. So we're going to have to upsample those quite a bit. So it's going to really stretch that map out. But you're getting that over a larger, even though it's a smaller pixel size map, it's of a much broader area. So I think of it just being the camera, the satellite, when it's taking this picture, is just zoomed out of the map and taking a broader picture. And then just it's a smaller compression size that you're getting. So these are a little bit closer to true life, but you're really having to hunt and search. Ooh, that one, it's got some nice flats in here. See, this is, I'm not quite sure what I want to do for my actual game, you know, because one of the things you got to think of as a game developer when you're creating your worlds is, what are you going to do about the edges of the map? How are you going to hide that? How are you going to keep the player from going beyond them or seeing the edge of your world, right? So that's something mentally I still haven't really worked out yet. So I may take some of those previous tricks that we've done earlier in this stream, and I may put like, I kind of want like mountain ranges, you know, where it's going to be a survival game. So I need a place for like a downtown. I want the player to be able to go search like a downtown where the accident happened and all that stuff, and where it's just an apocalyptic state. And then, but he's out in the mountains when it happens, and that's where you're trying to survive at because it's unsafe down in town, kind of a thing. So I'm going to need some mountains, but to help block the edge, I figured since we'd be out in the mountains, I'd like to kind of surround most of it in mountains, maybe around where the city's at, put in like an ocean or something just to kind of keep the player from there. So, you know, there's different tricks, but at the same time, we gotta figure that out. So just keep that in mind when you're deciding your maps and your landscapes as well. So, but this one's kind of interesting. It looks like there's not too high of mountains here. I'll probably try to find something else. So I'm going to enter that one. 77, 354. I kind of like that one, but it might be a little too flat for me. I'm not trying to find me anything too particular right now. I'll end up doing most of that for my particular needs off camera. I'm just trying to find some interesting things for us to use. Let's see. Try to get a little closer. What was that? 3384. Try to get a little closer to Atlanta. 33. Yeah, we don't got nothing here. Let's go back and browse a different section. Georgia. Let's try LiDAR County browse. I don't see any 33s in here either. All right, browse this one. Try one more time. 33. Yeah. Let's try this. Oh, big void in that one. See, and that's hard to tell. Is that really a void? I see. I think that is a void because that looks a little too rough in there. I think it originally wasn't, but the capture just wasn't quite there. Same thing with that one. Man, that's pretty mountainous, pretty rugged terrain right there. Let's try. Yeah, not much in here. That almost looks like a moon crater. And I think USGS, I think you can actually get like some height maps from like Mars and the moon. You can get height maps and stuff from there as well. There's a bunch of different places you can get them. Let's go back and just to keep everybody from getting too bored, let's go back, and I think this is the one where you found the 21354, right? 354, 21354. That's this one. Let's go with this one. Let's check this out, see how this looks like. Nice little mountain range right in there, flat spot down in here. So let's see what this one looks like. So now we come back here and let's go into TIFF. And so now we got the TIFF files in here, and let's go 21354 right there, right? 21354, select that one, and it's going to download it for us. And yeah, so they're relatively big. So 446 megabytes is the size of this particular file. All right, so let's show this in the folder. All right, so we got that. I'm going to take this and try to move it over into I was having this issue earlier for some reason. For some reason, it wasn't letting me move files. It was like freezing up. So fine, we'll leave it right there. So let's open up. Now that we got that downloaded, let's go ahead and open up TerraSculptor. And let's go File. Let's import a terrain. And find the location of your downloaded one. So I'm actually going to have to go into my downloads folder. And we don't see it in here because we have not set on the right one. So we want to go to GeoTIFF. There's a few TIFFs that you choose from. Really, it doesn't matter to find it. GeoTIFF is what it is, though. So select the file we downloaded. Let's open it up. All right, 32. They're coming in as at a 32-bit grayscale, so they're high quality. So, yep, that's what we want. And that's pretty interesting. That almost looks like tire tracks or something. That's kind of weird. I don't know if that's like, I wonder what that is. When they took the satellite image, that almost looks like parcels, right? Parcels and land. Huh. That's pretty interesting. Interesting it would show up in this, because it's almost like fences or something, like some sort of property line boundaries, right? Because that definitely looks man-made. That's stuff you couldn't really see in that map. Let's see. Oh, that one we'd have to. Interesting. So anyways, with this now, so this needs to be, this should come in as normalized already, so we shouldn't have to. We'll double check it, right? So if we wanted to export this just as it was, we come down here, we hit normalize just to make sure all the height values are set, right? Nothing really happened there that we saw. but we need to resample this. You can see here it came in at 10,012 by 10,012. So it's a really big size, decent size map. So we want to try to set this to Unreal scale. So you come up here to modify and resample. You come down here to resample and the custom size. Let's go ahead and select the Unreal size, go to world partition. And so here's a size. So, you know, it's a 10,000 by 12 original. So really you could do a 10K map right here. This is world partition size. You can select that one and bring it in at this size. And there wouldn't be really much distortion at all within the map. So you could do that, or you can knock it up to an 11K map. Just because we're having issues and I'm just trying to demonstrate this for you guys, let's just do a 4K map. I don't want to crash out or take forever to load this into the computer, into the engine. So 4K, and then make sure you select the second one here. Both of them have to be selected. This is a 4081 by 4081, and select OK. And then before you hit OK again, come down here to best. Make sure you select the best quality and hit OK. It's going to resample it and shrink it down to the size it needs to be. There we go. So let's just go ahead and double check. You can see it kind of compressed it down a little bit. So if you needed to, you can come over here and let's go 100. And let's go, oops, let's try like 50. Let's apply that. Okay. And this is a little bit closer to what it was when we started, right? So it didn't really change at all. If we normalize this, it's going to set those scales for us and probably raise it up a little bit. I'm not going to raise these mountains. I want to try to keep them about where they're at. But you can see originally this looks like some sort of irrigation or river or something that runs through here. If this is all farmland, that's pretty interesting if that's what all these lines are. This is obviously something I wouldn't use. I'd have to go in and touch all that up in the engine if I really like this map, because I wouldn't want those boundary lines in there. That's interesting. See, this almost looks like cattle. Huh. Okay, so we've got this now, so good for that. So modify. Let's go ahead and, since we did a little bit of work on there, make sure you normalize it, get it all set up, and there we go. So we got a real world map, right? This is of latitude and longitude 21 by 349, right? So you can find this on a map somewhere. It's that section. It's a 1 meter map. So let's take this and bring this into engine. So export the terrain, and I'm just going to do Georgia live stream 4K. Save it as a 16-bit. And there we go. So drop that down now. So let's go ahead and open that up into, or import that into the map, or into the engine. File, new level. And we'll do the height map for now. Let's load in landscape. Where is it? Oh, I don't think I exported it properly. Let's drop that back down. How did I export that? Oh, I exported down. Okay, it's in my downloads folder. Did it export as a PNG? Yep, I didn't double check that PNG. Let me move that over really quick. There it is. Hopefully move it over. There we go. That one moved over. All right, let's try this again. Go back into Unreal. And now we should be able to see it. Georgia live stream 4K. Let's open that one up. There's a map. I'm going to leave it all natural, 100% scale. And let's go ahead and import it. I'm going to show you too here how the map is set up. So when we scale it, it's actually not just scaling the peaks, right? So it's you're actually getting double size off of it, because the let's set up this material really fast, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, and that still came in pretty steep. So I'd probably have to downscale that. Those are, I don't think those mountains are intended to be that steep. So let's go like this. Let's go detail, landscape. Let's go 50%. Probably a little bit better. So when you scale it in the world here, let's go change our perspective to, it doesn't matter. Let's go to the front. Okay, so we got the line here. So the pivot point is in the center of all this. So when you scale it, you're getting double the size. So if you scale it up, you know, say 20 meters or something, then this is moving up and this is moving down. So you're, I'm trying to use my hands to show you, it's expanding in both directions. So what I just did there, so if I go back to, let's go back to 100%. You're going to see it can expand both on the top and the bottom. So here's the bottom. See what I mean? So it expands it in both directions. So whatever you do here in the scale, it's double the effect. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So if we went down to say 25%, that's going to scale it down probably way too much. Let's go 40%. So, and the reason why I want to show you this, not only just for the scale, let's go back into perspective for a minute, see how that looks at 40%. See, that's actually not too bad. But the reason why I show you that here, man, those marks just are interesting. I'd have to go in and super flatten those out. That's just something weird with it. But anyways, the reason why I show you that is because if we go back over here into the front view, you've got this right here. If you wanted to like figure out a water level or whatever, right? Then generally you want to be in your world, you know, at least for me, if I'm doing water, right? Sea level would be at level 0. So the Z axis in the world, Z0, in my mind, when I'm doing things like water, should be the water that should be sea level, right? But if we did that here, look how much half of this map would be underwater. So just keep that in mind. You figure out where you want your landscape. I have to select all these proxies and move them up. Let me see, landscape. That was probably dangerous. Now it's kind of freezing up on me a little bit. I moved the Z up a little bit. So probably better just hand entering the location, but figure out what location you want. Yeah, the engine's kind of thinking a little too hard on that one. Think about where you want your sea level and then raise it up to that. And then if you put in, you know, you'll always know that if you want to put in water, you just put in a water plane at level 0 and there you go. Okay. So, whew, all right, there we go. 174. And Dimension actually talks about it in some of his videos. He's got a couple series on doing this and doing some of the world partition stuff. And so if you're interested and want a little bit more information than I'm giving you here, definitely go check him out. He's got a bunch of stuff on there, and he goes in a little bit more detail about cell size and things like that are good to know. I'll eventually go over it in some of my stuff, but if you want it, he's already got it out, so you can go check it all out. So I'm not going to change this Z height for right now. I just wanted to show you guys that. I probably shouldn't have set that there. So go back to perspective. And there we go. So if I dropped in, actually I'm going to need a player start. Let's just go current camera location, hit play. There we go. So yeah, there's definitely some map errors with that, the way that those work or came across on the map. So, all right, so that's one way to do real world, and this is pretty close to accurate as far as the distance and stuff goes. For whatever reason, it imported a little bit little steep, but we just adjusted the scale level of it. And I think this is pretty close, like I said, to where I would want it eventually. Ultimately, it just comes down to what makes you happy, right? So for me, since I'm going to be out in a survival world and I want mountains and stuff out there, I'm going to want some taller mountains. I want to make it a little bit more difficult for the player to scale and get to. So, this is a little too rugged here for me. I ended up having to smooth a lot of this out, but a lot of work when you're doing it. So, but I do want to have something for me for my level. I'd like to start doing some level design, not only on just general live streams, so I can hang out with you guys, and just talk and answer questions, do some level design. But it's always nice to make your game when you're building a game to make it look a little bit pretty. So that's what I want to try to do. Just have a little start area so I can kind of set it up and start designing things from there and go for that. So that's what I'm looking to next. So let me show you this last way, or this last site to use for importing real world. So let's go back into TerraSculptor. And again, let's open up tools and go to the digital elevation model site. Now this site won't have there's a couple caveats with this site. It is going to be this Earth Explorer right here. Great site. They've got 30-meter data. You're getting a much bigger area, which is fine. You're getting a much bigger area to lower resolution. So you gotta do a little bit of tweaking on your scale and things like that. But it's real world data, right? So figure it out. You can get it to however you like. But aside from that, it is also you got to register on their website. It's still the USGS, but they actually want to know some information from you before you could do it. So you got to give them your address, and honestly, you can fake it all, everything except for your email address, because I think they email you a confirmation. So aside from your email address, they wanted like my phone number. I didn't give them my phone number. I just entered like a bunch of seven all the way through, right? I didn't give my and I still got access to it. So it's just they use it for statistical data. They're not going to email you or they're not going to send you snail mail or anything like that, or I don't know why they want the information. But if you don't want to give them the information, you still want to access the site, just give them fake information. It's not going to be a big deal. Just give them your correct email address so you can register your account, right? So, but they do want some information from you. So Earth Explorer, again, highlight it, select copy, and we'll close that down and open up our web browser again. There it is. And paste it in there, and let's go. And I'm already signed in here. So you're going to come in. It's going to default here. This is what we're going to be looking at. So we're at Sioux Falls, Nebraska, right in the general area of, there's Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. So if we want to do some Atlanta, Georgia, come in here and you zoom in. And yeah, so here we are. Here's downtown Atlanta, right? So we could do all that. So because this is 30-meter, what we can do, there's a couple ways that we can select it, right? You just kind of zoom in to the area of the map that you want, and you come over here and select use map, right? And it's going to take the center point of where your map is and give you the region of the map. So when we download a map, this is actually going to be the region of the map that we're going to be getting. So we're going to be getting all of this in a 30-meter map. Okay. So that's kind of the thing, like I was talking about with 30 meters. All right. So, but if you wanted to, you can also enter, let's go ahead and clear coordinates, clear search. You can also, like, if we're coming in here, instead of doing that, you go, I specifically want this area. I want this area right here. So you come over and you just, all you got to do is click on the map. You're going to set a marker. And then I want, like I said, I want this section right here. So I'm just setting 4 points, right? I'm on the polygon tool right here, degrees, minutes, seconds. So this is just giving us the latitude and longitude of it. So we've got that selected, and then you select use map. So just because you selected that area of the map, you're not going to get just that, but you're going to get the map. And now it goes here. You're going to get the section of map that has that coordinates in there. So then you'll just have to decide how you want to work your map at that point. Okay. So now that you have that, if you come over to the data sets, all right, we've got this area of map that we want shown, and we come over to digital elevation. And right here, we got SRTM. And then we want the void filled. Okay, so that just means that all the voids have been filled, that we're not going to get any voidless data. Now you can get some more other stuff here that does have voids in it, but we don't want that. We just don't. If we're going to deal with stuff with voids, we're going to go do it on the 1 meter maps, right? So hit the check mark there, and then select results, and it's going to do its search thing and give you the results here. So these are the only maps it has of this area. Some you may end up getting more. You may get a whole list of different results here for this area, but this one, for whatever reason, it's only got 2. And these are the maps. The coordinates are 33 by 84, which is 33 by 84, right? So that's what we were looking at when you were asking for Atlanta, Georgia. So 33 by negative 85. Actually, that shows negative, but that's positive for some reason. Anyways, so that's the area there. You want the 1 arc, the resolution 1 arc. That's going to be your 30 meter map. I think these are the 3 arc. I think that's a 90 meter map. So that's going to be even worse quality. So we want to get the closer meter, which is the 1 arc, and then just select download options. All right, so now when you get the download option, you're going to have 3 here. You can download a TIFF if you want, but the nice thing about the bills, I'll show you, is the bill file. Not only is it smaller to download, but it's going to give us, we're going to get some more information with it when we download it, which is going to help out TerraSculptor. So go ahead and download the bill in this case. There we go, downloading. All right, and it's already downloaded, so select that, and it's going to come to you. And let me make sure there's no sensitive things in this. Yeah, let's just go like that. So it's going to come to you in a zip file. Obviously, just extract it all, just unzip it, extract here, that's fine. So we got the files. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to move these into, create a new file here, ATL Atlanta. And I'm going to move these files into our stream folder that we've been using. Okay, so now we got these in here. All right, so minimize that. Let's go back into TerraSculptor. Let's go File, Import Terrain. So now what we would want to do, we don't want the TIFF anymore. We need to find the bill. There it is, the .bil. Go into, not downloads, let's go back into our live stream folder. Maybe, if it lets me. Ooh, I think my resources are getting a little hogged up. I don't want that. Yeah, it's not letting me do anything right now. Hopefully it didn't freeze up the stream. Let me see, stream quality, analytics, stream health. Yeah, it still says I've got excellent health, so yeah. Okay, if this doesn't work, there we go. Okay, live stream. All right, Atlanta. We got the bill file. Okay, so now we got this. Let's go ahead and open this. In that bill file, or what came with that bill file, you can see right here, we got the bill file right here, but it also comes with a header file. This right here is a header file. So this has additional information about the height data. This fills in all this information here for us. So we don't have to worry about any of this. when we're importing. It's going to set it in and give us the best information possible. It tells it the resolution here, the whatever fraction that is, arc second, and there's no void, so we don't need to fill it in. It's all set. It just sets it all for us. And you can see here, this is what I was talking about, is a 30 meter map. The last one at 1 meter came in at 10,012 resolution, whereas in this one's 3600, right? So we're gonna have to upscale this to get it where we want it, but since we're gonna upscale it to a 4K map, it's not gonna really distort it that much. So let's just go ahead and agree with what it is, hit OK, and it gives us a bunch of crud. So let's go ahead and normalize this. I don't know if that's going to fix it. I don't know why quite it looks like that. Normalize. Let's try to drop this down, 128. I'm going to close down Terra Sculptor. I'm going to close down Terra Sculptor real quick. Let's reload that save project. No, maybe just because we loaded so many things. Load that back up. Some of my previous settings might have just been walking all over it. So let's go ahead and import terrain again. Should put us right about where we're at. Let's go. We're going to import the bill. That one should be fine. Header, yes. It's still coming in all like that. That's kind of odd. Properties, let's try this. 100. There we go. I think that fixed it a little bit. Let's put the material back and color set. That's still a little bit rough. Objects, get rid of that home grid. All right. It's probably still a little too rough. I don't know why it, maybe, I mean, it's got to be the map, right? Because it's reading that information. So I would think, let's go ahead and we're just going to resample it. I'm going to probably try to find a different one real quick and see if we can get a little bit better resolution. But let's go modify, resample, UE 4081 by 4081. Oops. Let's actually undo that. We want to resample it. We want to make sure we resample it at the best quality. Yeah, see, all these little bumps in here. I mean, maybe the terrain really is like that, and I don't know. It's kind of weird. Let's try a different section of the map real quick. Let's go, if you don't mind hanging out with me. Earth Explorer. Let's close that out. Let's find a different area. I'm going to come over here. Let's go to, where was I before? What was it I downloaded? I think it was Utah. No, where was it? Where did I was downloading some stuff earlier when I was testing out it. Oh, here it is. I did Helena earlier. So let's come in here. I know this map came out all right. I'm going to do this one again. Let's come over here to data criteria. Let's clear our coordinates and clear our search criteria. All right. And I just want to include, this is Helena, Montana. And I'm just going to go use map. And there we go. This is the section of the map that it wants to give us. And that looks fine to me. So let's go results. Come in here to digital elevation, SMRT, SRTM void field results. There we go. You can see we got a few more choices here. We got one arc, so you can kind of see the map right here. It's going to give us, it's not giving us this whole thing. This is just the region, and it's not showing it. That was just the region, so it looks like we've got this section here and this section here. These are all the same, just at different qualities. So this one matches this one matches that one. So I'm going to go with this first one here, and let's download this. We're going to download, I'm going to try download the bill. If I have a problem with this bill, then I'm going to download GeoTIFF instead, but see if it makes a difference. All right, there we go. Open this up. Let me extract this really fast. All right. And there we go. Okay. So now let's jump into TerraSculptor. Once again, give this another shot here. File, new project, and actually, no, we don't want a new project. We want to import file, import terrain. We're set up on bill. Let's go back to Helena, Montana. Select that bill, open it up. Everything should be good to go, and let's hit OK. There we go. So that one seems a little bit better. So something was up either with that map or something. So yeah, this definitely seems a whole lot more accurate. So there you go. So you may not, even with the real world data, you still may not end up getting exactly what you're looking for. If that's the case, and then try a different area. So I am going to do this though. I'm going to go 100, 100 and apply that. Okay, and let's normalize it. Okay, and this still might be too much, but those are some nice peaks. I really kind of like that right there. Probably a little too much as far as like the map goes for me. I would probably, let me see what this looks like if we sample this down to 128. So it flattens them out a little bit, which I kind of liked having those high peak mountains right there. I would have to probably, if I were to use this in my game, I would probably want to smooth out a lot of this. This is just too rolling, you know, on a game level standpoint, you know. So even when you're using real world data, you probably are still going to have to do a lot of work inside of Unreal to smooth some things out, you know, because I mean, what are you going to do with this in the map, right? What are you going to, you want the player to be able to run around and explore, and you're going to have to put, you know, for me, for a survival game, I'm going to want to put things around here. I mean, of course I could make this just like forest area, right? Put a bunch of trees in here for the player and then make this all exploration. So I don't know. We'll leave this how it was, 256, the peak of the mountains. I just want to see how this looks in. We'll leave it at normal. We do have to change the transform. Are you still hanging in there with me, weird one? Change the, we need to resample this. And where was that? Modify, resample. Let's resample it to 40. Oh, no, not 4033. World partition size 4081 by 4081. And the reason why these sizes are a little bit different is because in UE4, it actually had in all the tiles that you would need to make maps and stuff, you would have 1 pixel offset edges as it would stitch it back together in the engine, whatever. That's how I understand it. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but with each component that it creates, it would take all those edges and create 1 pixel overlap on each component or each section of it and stitch them back together in the engine. So that's why, but in world partition, it doesn't do that. You don't have that 1 pixel offset. So that's why you go from 4033 to 4081, is because now you're adding those pixels back in. So that's the way I understand it anyway. So it stretches it out a little bit more. So anyways, 4081, that's what we want for the size. Select OK. And let's make sure that the best is selected, and OK. Resamples it, brings it up. So we're in 4K map. It didn't change it too much. Let's just confirm that it is normalized. There we go. It's normalized. And if you want, you can come in here. If you're still not happy with it, there is a ton of effects in here. Obviously, you got the erosion. You got hydraulic rain, slope, thermal erosion that you can add. It's got its own, you know, like flattening or smoothing effect. It's got smoothing in here. Invert some of the colors, down sample crop. There's a lot of things. You can blur it even more if you want. Altitude, you can change the altitude of it, right? So if we wanted, you know, like our floodplains to be, if we didn't want any floodplains, then we can do that. So drop the height down. So now we got more of water. See, so we can come in here. This is kind of what it's looking at now. So we got more low areas. It just kind of dropped our height. So this is almost like going back to, if we were to do something like this would, you know, think back closer to prehistoric times before the continents, you know, what's that called? Paleo. I don't know. I'm not going to try to act like I'm that smart, but you know, back in the day before everything, we lost water and erosion and yeah. So anyways, so there's definitely a ton of things. I actually kind of like that though. Kind of crush the top of that mountain a little bit. Yeah. So anyways, we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it at natural, cancel that out. So yeah, so there's a ton of things. Just go in here, play with it, right? So you're not going to hurt it. You've got the original file. So if you get to a point, you just end up getting lost in all the little settings you're trying to do with it. There's probably a little too many mountains in here for me for this. In Unreal, I'd have to do it. But let's go ahead and import this. We'll do this as our final one. I think Weird One fell asleep on me, so that's all good. Not a problem. So we'll import this one. So we got it in there on the title. We're creeping up on 2.5 hours. So I think that's a pretty decent live stream. My throat's starting to hurt a little bit. You can probably hear it. So let's go ahead, and I did normalize it. Let's just make sure that I did it right. So there's normalize and export terrain. Export it as a PNG. And I'll call this one Helena, Montana, 4K. And I'm going to move that into the main folder, save it, 16-bit, and we're good to go. So I'm just going to close this one down. Don't save the project, close application, open Unreal Open for one last time, and head over into a new map. We got to save this one. What was this one? This one was Atlanta. I think that was Atlanta, somewhere around in there. Save the map and stream map 4. File, new level, open, world empty. And as we've been doing all night long, environment light mixer. Let's add in everything. And I will add the height fog just because. And then I'm going to hide it again. Let's go landscape mode. Import our new map, Helena, Montana 4K. Import it. Let's get up here. Okay, you can see kind of a few peaks in here, but I think that should be okay. I'm going to leave it 100 by 100. We got the material selected and import. Yeah, see, so those peaks are pretty high. You can see it right now. Did I hide the exponential height fog? I did. Does look cool with it in there, though. So let's enable the material again. All right. Yep, so those are pretty high peaks, so I'd probably have to go in and smash those all down. We can go in here into the landscape, though. Let's drop it down manually. Drop down 50%, see how that looks. That looks probably a little bit better, actually. If I dropped it down in here, how high would those mountains be if we played it from here? Yeah, see, realistically, those mountains probably are really higher than what we just had. I'm going to do that again. I'm doing it at 100, back where it was at originally, and play it and just see how tall those mountains are. I think we need to set render distance. See that height fog? Why is that height fog? I thought I disabled that. Yeah, so those mountains, those are pretty pointed mountains. Yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to get into personal preference, what I need for my map, but that's how you do it. And you're just going to end up, like I said, you're going to end up having to spend a lot of time anyways, no matter what. Just kind of refining it, you know, these steep peaks right in here, probably be best adjusted really in TerraSculptor, get those down. You know, it's kind of hard to tell until you get used to it and use it quite a bit. You can't really tell how high those peaks are, right? So 256 was probably a little too high for that, you know, because I don't want to squish it, because if I squish it in here by changing the percentage of the Z scale, it's, you know, like we talked about earlier, it's just collapsing. It's shrinking the entire map from top to bottom. It's just bringing the top and the bottom closer together. Whereas in, you know, really all I want to do is these peaks need to go away. And I can accomplish that without sacrificing the other half of the landscape inside TerraSculptor. So I would probably just go back in and then re-import the map and see how that worked. So that's not a big deal. I do appreciate you hanging out and checking this out. So if you miss a live stream, I apologize for that. Maybe we can work out something, try to get everybody going in the future. But this will be up there for you guys to see after, you know, after it's posted. It should be posted pretty much right after we're done with the live stream, but I'll get that link and I'll post it in the Discord for you guys. Whoever is a current supporter will have access to the live stream channel. So, and this will be available. You'll be able to see this in the near future. I don't know, maybe a few days. I'll make it public for everybody. Give my supporters the benefit of being able to view this and critique it. Leave me some comments down below. If you guys want to be part of these live streams in the future, then please come on over. Any tier, $1. You want to come join live stream or two a month, then, you know, whenever I can get around doing a live stream, then just come on over. Cost you $1 to help support the channel. Goes to a good cause, me and my production. It's not just me, it goes to my production. I got a full-time job, so I don't need that money to survive, but any money I get from that I use to help build up my equipment, do better production, shows that you guys appreciate what I'm doing, etc., etc. So we got a lot of good things coming. Weird One, I appreciate you, appreciate everything you're doing. He's a mod over on the Discord, and he's got some good things. He's working on my projects, and he's going to be coming up with some things that we can do for Patreon support. You guys can download some really cool projects and stuff aside from the, you know, the projects that I'm doing in my videos. He's going to be doing some additional stuff. Come on over to the Discord if you're at this point in the live stream, congratulations. But come on over to the Discord and hang out over there. Even if you don't support the channel financially, that's okay. Come on over, talk to us. I got a page where you can come over and share your work. If you are a supporter, you can share your work. If you're not a supporter, you can check out everybody else's work, just show some things off. So, and if you got any questions, same thing. Come on over, hang out, take a chat. And we're pretty fun over there, pretty kickback, and try to help everybody out. So I appreciate it. I think this live stream went off all right. So, it is what it is. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Take care.